Hey, what's going on, guys? So today I will be putting on a motor heatsink for my Razer MX 500. Right now, the motor just needs to come off. To do that, there are a few Allen screws that need to come out. But first, I'm actually going to take off the chain guard to make it easier to get to the motor and make it easier to see what I'm doing. That's just two Phillips screws, and then the whole chain guard comes off. Now I'm just tightening up, putting a bunch of boxes away so it's easier to get to the screws. This is the motor heatsink. It's basically just a piece of aluminum that goes around the motor. It has these little fans on it, which increase the surface area of the motor, allowing it to distribute heat better and ultimately make it cooler. Now the motor wire is tied to the zip tied to the frame. I'm gonna take the zip tie off using a small screwdriver to pry it off. Now with that undone, the motor should just come off pretty easily. Should be able to slide out the bottom. It's a little bit stuck right now, um, but it should come. And there it goes. It's coming out now. It just slips right out. So the motor heatsink should just slide on to the motor with just a little bit of pressure. Um, I'm not going to do that right yet though, because the motor is quite dirty, and you don't want all that dirt under the heatsink. Yeah, look at all that grime on the motor. Now I have the motor all cleaned. I used a rag and some soap to just clean off the motor, get all the grime off. And now if I press down, the heatsink should just slip onto the motor. Just trying to get it lined up. And there it goes. Now it's on. I didn't line it up very good. It's too far to the front. So I'm going to just grab a hammer and try to pound it back a little ways. Okay, now I'm trying to slide the motor back into place, but it's not getting able to pass the wheel with the new fans, making it a little bit taller. It's close, but it won't get through quite yet because of the legs and the fans on the motor now. So now I'm gonna have to take off the rear wheel to fit the motor into its place. As you can see, I'm struggling and it's not going into spot. I'm trying to realign it, but this isn't gonna do anything because it has nothing to do with the alignment of the heat sink. So now I'm just grabbing two wrenches and I'm gonna take off the rear wheel. It's 19 millimeter bolts on both sides. I'm using 2 half-inch drives to take the rear axle off, um, which will ultimately take the rear wheel off. There it goes. And now the motor should be able to slide right into place. With the motor now in place, all I should need to do is screw it back in. However, the motor does not fit with the new fans for the heatsink. The heatsink fans are hitting on the frame, so I'll need to grind them or file them down. As you can see, I'm using a file to file them down in the spots that's needed so that it will clear the frame and be able to set in the correct spot. I'm using a rag to wipe off the excess shavings of aluminum so that it doesn't get into my motor and cause damage. As you can tell, the motor still doesn't line up exactly, so I'll need to keep grinding away at the heatsink until it does line up. Right now I'm using the hammer to try to move the heatsink because I don't think it's quite lined up. After 2+ hours of filing away at my motor, it finally fits in place, and as you can see, it fits pretty well and the wheel's spinning, so now it's all good.